Hey honey, watch stay Midgard. My name is Michelle. Hello and welcome back to my channel. So this is special if you have seen the title and you've probably seen everybody else's videos, but my category for the 10 years of reading Goodreads award winners is poetry. And if you didn't know this about me, when I was in high school, I used to participate in this event called oral interpretation. And my main topic, like ride or die category, was poetry. And when I was approached about this, thank goodness for Izzy's idea, I absolutely loved it. At first I was like, I don't know which category I would take, but then when I was looking through it, I was like, you know what, we're gonna go with poetry because 15-year-old me would be just screaming at this challenge. She would absolutely love it, so we are gonna do it for her. And so I went through 10 years of poetry winners, and there were a couple years that I have read. I read 2021's winner. However, I'm going to be reading the runner-up because the copy is available at my library. So we're going to request all of these books. A few of these I was able to find via Scribd, so that I do not have to worry about. So let's get into it. There was one other book that I couldn't find. However, Bethany sent it to me. Honest here and say that I have already read these books. Time has passed. I read all of them in I think it took me like a week, and I read all of them. For me, this was more so a project of what do I think as a lover of poetry, as a person who literally was an alternate to state, what do I think that I would want to use for a poem of all of these readers for oral interp. And of course I was like, oh my god, obviously people are gonna be loving Amanda Lovelace. They're gonna fall in love with that edgy, broody, moody girl writing, right? Like that was always the fad. But honestly, I could definitely see some of these poems being like really high up there, and not even the Amanda Lovelace list. But I think that one would definitely be the most popular one, or the Rupi Kaur. I didn't necessarily have a ranking. I thought my least favorite would probably be The Dogs That I Kiss. I actually ended up really enjoying that one. I'm gonna go over the 10 years of poetry winners here for you. I decided to go with the ones that I could find either at my library or the ones that I could find on Scribd, and then Bethany also helped me out with one of the books. So thank you to Bethany for that. Let's talk about the books. I made a little graphic, which you'll be able to see. We're going to talk about Love and Misadventures by Lang Lee. This was an interesting book. Some of these poems are wistful. This really feels like a coffee table book. I did not like it. I did not enjoy it. It was just kind of like, Lullabies by Lang Lee. Some poems are good, but they don't strike me emotionally, and I was really confused on what exactly this poem book was about. If he broke your heart, why are we wasting 323 pages on him? The first poem like really sets the tone in The Dogs We Have Kissed. It just was like, bam. At first I thought this was actually, I thought this was about dogs. It's not. A lesson gathered, people suck. The Princess Saves Herself in this one by Amanda Lovelace. We have an abusive mother. Lots of struggles happening. Some of the poems felt a little bit like high school emo, but otherwise they were pretty insightful. For The Sun and Her Flowers, I was like, wow. I thought it was going to be a lot more cool girl poetry, but this talks about immigration, family, rape culture, way that women are treated on a more global scale. It was a bit intense for me, but I know that people do enjoy this. The Witch Doesn't Burn in this one. I loved the feminist poetry. I really appreciated the trigger warnings within the audiobook for both this one and the other Amanda Lovelace book. This also really captures the way that men deceive women and take advantage, and just how shady women are treated in general. As for Shout, if I ever meet the author, I'm gonna give her a hug, because she just seems like she's gone through so much. There were so many good quotes, moments of relation between me and the poets and the poetry, and there's just a lot of immense sadness. It was one that I really liked, something that I had gravitated towards before this project, but now that I finally finished it, it's like, wow. As for the Lana Del Rey poem, you gotta be tripped out for this. This was something else. There's pictures, it's very like 70s eclectic vibe. Definitely has and I feel like this is like a cool girl poetry book. As for Amanda Gorman's The Hill We Climb, I loved this. I have no notes. It's such a wonderful opportunity to be able to present the poem at inauguration. And then as for Amanda Gorman, Call Us What We Carry, this was a wow. This was just immaculate. I feel like it was more like a discussion on correlation between COVID-19 and the Spanish influenza, as well as the poem had all different kinds of poems inside of it. I love that. There's one where it's like a whale, and there's one with a mask. This also discusses Black Lives Matter, what happened to George Floyd, and the aftermath of that, and also just general discussion on police brutality. I really loved the audiobook for this. If you're sitting there and you have time, this is amazing. Alright, so we're going to talk about My Princess Saves Herself in this one, The Witch Doesn't Burn in this one, The Sun and Her Flowers, Call Us What We Carry, the very long titled Lana Del Rey poem, Shout, The Hill We Climb, Love and Misadventure, Lullaby, and The Dogs We Kissed. And so here's my overall ranking now, after reading all of these. My number 1 is Shout by Laurie Halse Anderson. Number 2 would be The Witch Doesn't Burn in this one by Amanda Lovelace. Number 3 is The Dogs I Have Kissed by Trista Mateer. Number 4 is Call Us What We Carry by Amanda Gorman. The Princess Saves Herself by Amanda Lovelace. The Hill We Climb by Amanda Gorman. Violet Bent Backwards Over the Grass by Lana Del Rey. The Sun and Her Flowers by Rupi Kaur. Love and Other Misadventures by Lang Lee. And at very last, my least favorite is Lullabies by Lang Lee. And so that is my tier ranking. And ironically, I actually went back to check. Who won state this year, and I noticed that one of the poems from The Sun and Her Flowers by Rupi Kaur was actually one of the poems that was performed at my state Orland Terp for 2022. I'm going to go over the 10 years of poetry winners here for you. I decided to go with the ones that I could find either at my library or the ones that I could find on Scribd. And then Bethany also helped me out with one of the books. So thank you to Bethany for that. So 2013's winners was J.R.R. Tolkien, The Fall of Arthur, and number 2 was Love and Misadventure by Lang Lee. So I decided to go with Lang Lee. Either you could go with the poem that was the first, or if they were controversial in any way, you could go with the second one. But I went with Love and Misadventure by Lang Lee. In 2014, Bethany helped me out with this one. Number 1 was Lullabies by Lang Lee, and number 2 was Poison Apples by Christine Heberman. That one sounded way better to me, but I couldn't find it. 2015 was The Dogs I've Kissed by Trista Mateer. And number 2 was Memories by Langleaf. And I was like, nah, we're going to find The Dogs That I Kissed. 2016's winners, The Princess Saves Herself in This One by Amanda Lovelace. And I didn't write down the second. I didn't feel the need to. 2017, The Sun and Her Flowers by Rupi Kaur won. And I got this one from the library. 2018 was The Witch Doesn't Burn in This One by Amanda Lovelace, and I got this one from Scribd. And 2019 was Shout by Laurie Halse Anderson, and this one was actually at the library. I tried to get the physical copy, but it's missing. In 2020, the number 1 winner was Memories by Margaret Atwood, but I just don't want to read from her. So I went with Violent Bent Backwards Over the Grass by Lana Del Rey. And in 2021, we had Amanda Gorman's The Hill We Climb. And number 2 was Black Girl Call Home by Jasmine Mans. And I saw that that one was also at the library. And I had read Amanda Gorman's poem before this happened. I read it in 2021. Couldn't find that one. So I was like, you know what? I'll just reread the inaugural poem. It's not that big of a deal. And then in 2022... As you know, the winner was Call Us What We Carry by Amanda Gorman, and I was so happy. Otherwise, I think the second place winner was Time as a Mother by Ocean Vuong, and I actually was gonna go get that one at the library too. So I listened to these mostly on audio, which is why I was able to get them done so quickly. The one that definitely wore on me the most was The Sun and Her Flowers, because you would have like a really pleasant poem, and then bam, out of nowhere, it was talking about like dead babies, and I was like, okay. The Dogs I Have Kissed. For some reason, I thought this was going to be about actual dogs. I was like, why is she kissing dogs? No, it's about shitty men. My experience reading it, it's been fun to look at other people's experience reading these books versus my experience. Everybody's either having a horrible time, or they're having a great time, or they're having an in-between time because they have to get through a certain amount of books. I read all mine within like the first 2 weeks, and they're like, good for you. Really, good for you. But no, all joking aside, this was such a fun project to be a part of, just because, one, I'm not like, this is one of the first like really big collabs, and I really hope that I can do this again because this was super fun. And also, it's just been really fun to talk to everybody who has been on their own little reading journey. So that part was fun. I would have to say the downside of this poetry is that there are some in here that I'd never heard of before. So while I did discover new authors, I would be prompted to read, you know, the rest of Amanda Lovelace's backlist or her other stories. I definitely would not check out Lana Del Rey ever again. I don't do drugs. Langleaf, never reading that again. Ever. And definitely not reading Rupi Kaur again. That was too much for me. Hi, it's Editing Thor. I am so thankful to Izzy for sharing this idea with the rest of the group, for Bethany for helping us all team up, and for the fun community that we have gathered, sharing our experiences and feelings, reading, editing, everything. It's just been so fun. If you made it all the way, leave a star. If you have any fun poetry you've read this year, feel free to share your thoughts and feelings in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you'd like to help out in any way, I have a Kofi and a Patreon. Be safe, hydrate, nourish yourself, and don't forget to check in on a friend. You are valued, appreciated, and I hope that everything works out for you today. Bye!
Can Chris Evans drive? What is going on with me and driving? Yes, I can drive very well.
I'm trying to get a bunch of bitches to kneel.
Jonathan?
I don't like it. I don't like it.
Cut the check. Cut the check.
Get that bitch off the monitor.
Where's my husband?
Baby spider, baby spider.
Squirrels are scary, man.